Hello everyone, Specter here and welcome to Star Citizen. In my last video, I kind of briefly talked about the alien ships that may available during the Alien Week this year, which was a success until I found out that one of the ships I didn't talk about, which is the Esperia Glaive. I didn't expect it is on the list this year, or maybe I just missed out all the years, I don't know. But anyway, before the video starts, I will cover it a little bit, just a little bit, okay? So the Esperia Glaive is a medium fighter, it's a replica of the Vandu ship, one-seater. You got two size 1 laser cannons and two size 5 plasma cannons, which these weaponries cannot be swapped out, so just be aware of it. For missile-wise, you got 8 size 2 missiles on board, which is powerful enough for you to tear down any kind of enemy fighters. But there's a downside because the interface is red in color, just like the blade, which it means that during combat you will have a hard time to track down your target because all of them are red in color. So your targets kind of blend into your interface. So my impression about the ship is not that good, especially what I experienced during last year's IAE, because I was being trapped inside the cockpit due to bugs or maybe animation problems, until someone was kind enough to open up the cockpit to let me out. If not, I need to log out and log back in again, which is bad. Yep, so that's what I know about the Esperia Blade. Maybe you guys will have a better impression than me, but yeah, so let's get back to the video. So in my last video, kind of warm you guys up by talk about introducing about the alien ships that are available in Star Citizen, but this time I need to cool you guys down by pointing out the problems that you need to face, or you may need to face, if you try to own an alien ship. So basically speaking, the problems of alien ships in the future of Star Citizen. Okay, so before everything starts, two things I need to talk about first. So first of all will be the disclaimer, two of them, just in case that you guys don't know if I put it at the end of the video. So let's start with the mild one first. So the things that I'm going to talk about probably will subject to change due to the long development time of CIG, so just bear in mind about it. So the second disclaimer, probably the most important one, so listen up carefully. I am not promoting any ships or asking anyone to buy anything in Star Citizen with real cash, because you should be able to purchase everything in the game when the game is officially released with in-game credits. So no need to use real cash except for that starter pack. So if you don't even want to take this risk by purchasing the starter pack with real cash for $45 US dollars, fine, as long as you have an account. So time to time during the year, CIG will launch some free flight events, so if you got the account, you can just dive into the game and experience the good, the bad, which usually the best side of the game. So you don't need to pay anything to experience the game during that time, so just bear in mind. Alright, so everything's clear, right? Good. Okay, so the second thing I'm going to talk about will be the correction on my last video, because I remember when I talked about the Gatac Railen, I said that the cargo pods outside of it, or cargo boxes outside of it, would be easily stripped off from your ship due to piracy, just like a whole series of ships. But that's not true, my mistake, sorry about that, because those cargo pods supposed to be the container of the cargo boxes that you can see on the whole series of ships, or the other ships, the container boxes, okay? So they are the same thing, but they are the pods that house those container boxes, so it means that it's a container of the boxes, okay? So it means that you can't strip them off away from your ship. So I'm not so sure how does it work, or whether you can just simply open it and strip them off, I don't know. But anyway, it's not as same as the cargo boxes we can see right now in the verse. So, but still, the downside would be similar. Since those cargo pods are outside of the ship, it means that it's not being protected by the ship's hull. So it means that the rounds, if they penetrated the shield, those cargo pods are still going to suffer some damage. And if that section of the ship suffer enough damage, then you may have a chance to have that section, being shot off away from a ship, just like the engines or wings of your ship right now that you may experience due to combat. But the whole thing is not fully developed yet, so no one really knows. Just my theory about this point, so just bear in mind. Alright, so let's get back to the main topic of the video. Alright, so let's talk about the problems that the alien ships may need to face in the future of Star Citizen. But bear in mind that these problems are not extremely hard to overcome, just simply harder comparing to the human-made vessel. Alright, so let's get to it. The first problem that people may need to face would be they will have a harder time to acquire alien ships comparing to the human-made vessels in the future of Star Citizen, especially for those large alien ships. I need to state out that not all of those alien ships will be affected by this problem that much due to its manufacturer. So for example, if you talk about Esperia Incorporation, it is a human spacecraft manufacturer that produce replicas like the Blade, the Glaive, the Talon, and Prowler. So they should have like easier time to sell their crafts as same as those human-made vessels, because they're, if you are in human territories, so because they are still belongs to the human side, so their business should be relatively easy compared to the other foreign ships manufacturer, for example, the Alpa, the Banu Sulis, and also the Gatac manufacturer. So these ships manufacturers are really from their own territories, like the Xi'ans, the Banus, right? So it means that they should have a harder time to sell their ships in human territories, which means that players will have a harder time to find their ships. But still, personally speaking, if you are using the big alien ships to comparing these small alien craft, I think that the big one should be the main problem that can show how hard it would be for players to obtain alien ships compared to the human-made vessels. So very sorry about it is only the sole source, not because I'm lazy this time, just simply because this is the only large alien ships available for us to look at, which is the Banu Merchantman, the BMM. Speaking of the Banu Merchantman, there are a lot of different kind of stories and myths about how people can acquire the Banu Merchantman with in-game credits in the future of Star Citizen. But trust me, many of them are not going to be pretty. I summarize a few points that you need to do in order to acquire the Banu Merchantman in the future of Star Citizen. And these few points will be a little bit reasonable for me, and also it can show you how difficult it will be to acquire a big size alien ships comparing to the small ones. The first step you need to do is to travel all the way to Banu territory first, because based on the lore, you are not supposed to be able to purchase the Banu Merchantman in human territories. It means that you need to experience dozens of jumps in order to go there. I think that this is still fair enough, because like if you're trying to buy a human-made capital-sized ships, for example an 890 jump or maybe the Idris, then still you need to travel to a relatively well-developed system or the headquarters of those manufacturers in order to buy those ships and spawn them. So it means that the travel distance is similar, I would say, but not always be true. I'm trying to say that like both of them still need to travel a distance in order to start to consider buying the ship. The second step is to find a specific Suli to build you a Banu Merchantman, because there are a lot of different kind of Banu Sulis that specifically good at something. So for example, some Sulis are good at fighting, some Sulis are good at like trading, and some Sulis are good at shipbuilding. and you definitely want to find a shipbuilding like a Suli in order to build you a Banu merchantman instead of some Sulis that can sell you bananas and orange. But here comes a catch though, since you are already in the Banu territories, maybe you're sitting in a Banu town or city, then it means that you can see a group of like species that really looks like each other. So just for fun, it means that if you're having a conversation with a Banu and all of a sudden you experience a sneeze and stuff, then you may have a hard time to find out who's the Banu that you just talked to. But anyway, I'm just trying to say that you may still need to spend some time to find a specific Suli that are willing to sell you the Banu merchantman in the Banu territory. Okay, so the following part I would consider is the most annoying part among the whole transaction. So normally speaking, as long as you got enough credits, you can buy any ships you want. I mean, in-game credits. But that's not going to work for the Banu merchantman, because for the Banus, one problem which matters a lot, which is you are an outsider. They don't know you, and you just appeared in their territories, found them, and asking them to build him or her a state-of-the-art, a moving town, moving market, and a ship that will house a whole clan of Banus for generations. This is not going to work, even if the foreigner, I mean the outsider, is going to pay them a fortune of money in-game credits. So it means that even if you got enough credits, you're not going to get your ship right away. So in order to gain their trust, what you need to do is to gain their reputation. So it means that after you reach to Banu territories, you still need to spend a lot of time to doing missions to convince those Banus to consider taking your credits and start to build you a ship. So when you are going to some places like in human territories, when you're trying to buy a human craft, you're paying and they are building. While in Banu territories, if you want to purchase a Banu merchantman, it seems like you're begging them for them to buy, I mean, not even buy, you're begging them to take your credits so that they will build you a ship. So the whole thing will be time consuming and less efficient comparing to the way you buy a human craft. For these steps, I should say you'll be able to fly the merchantman around the verse. But there's a feature that concerns me quite a bit, but I highly doubt whether CIG will input it into the game or not, which is an alien language. So a long time ago, CIG really developed systems of alien languages for different kind of species, which including the Banu languages. So it means that if they really input it into the game, the whole negotiation will be much harder because we need to understand what they are talking about first, which means, well, we need to spend more time on studying foreign language, which is not going to be useful in real world. So that is why I think I highly doubt whether CIG will input it into the game or not. Even for nowadays, the games that speaks foreign languages, they still have a subtitle to support, to reinforce players so that players will be still understand what they're talking about while they're in the game and still be able to finish a certain missions without any kind of difficulties. So that is exactly why I think, well, CIG may have a chance to input this feature to the game, but I highly doubt whether they would do it in the future. After all, so at this point, I understand that most of you will start to think I'm asking people to purchase alien ships with real cash, especially those large alien ships. That is exactly why I put a disclaimer right at the front of the video instead of at the end of it to kind of settle this kind of misunderstanding. Because, like, this Star Citizen is not a game that pay to win. And the problems I'm going to state out, no matter how you obtain your alien ships, still you need to like kind of overcome these kind of problems in the future, which is it would be harder for players to maintain their alien ships compared to the human-made vessels. Nowadays in Star Citizen, players will have an easier time to obtain the ship's parts, modules, and also ship weaponries to improve their ships, but still, there is some part of the ship's modules, parts, and weaponries are not available on the market. And they got a very special feature, the common feature, which is their alien parts and modules. So for example, you cannot purchase the Cinch cannons, the tachyon cannons that applies to the Banu Defender, the plasma cannons that applies to the Blade and Glaive, and also the shield generators that made by the Banus by using Terraform technology that applies to Talon, Talon Strike, the Prowler, and also the Banu Defender. Yes, I know that in my last video I said that the feature of the Phalanx shields is not there yet because, well, nowadays the development is not there yet. But the ship module, the shield generator itself, does. So it means that, well, still, you cannot find these kind of modules and weaponries on the market right now. It makes a lot of sense for players to have a harder time to acquire alien parts comparing to the human-made parts. Because, first of all, the UEE should have some sort of restrictions to some kind of alien technologies. For example, the Vandu technologies, the Vandu parts. That is exactly why last year IAE, in the Vandu marketplace in Pyro, the shopkeeper reacts so much when he saw the camera was on and filmed about those real Vandu parts. And also, for those alien species, they may not willing to sell so many of their own technology towards a foreign species like a human. So that is exactly why it would be rare comparing to the human-made parts. Still, players shouldn't have much difficulties to obtain these kind of alien parts. Well, I would say, although it's harder than human-made parts, but still shouldn't be so difficult, because as I say that, well, the Banu marketplace that in Pyro, it means that you will have a chance if you match up with a Banu merchantman or the Kraken privateer on your way, then you may still have a chance to acquire these kind of alien parts from them. And also in a relatively well-developed systems, you may still have a higher chance to obtain different kind of ship's parts and also the alien parts from these kind of system, because, well, many people will be more willing to trade in a well-developed and also peaceful system than the wild ones, right? So it means that if you go there, you will still have your higher chance to obtain these kind of alien parts. If you really don't want to bother by this problem, there will be a very easy way to get rid of this problem, which is you just ditch all of those alien parts away and replace them with human-made parts would be fine. So, nowadays, many people would do to the Banu Defender by swapping out those Cinch 2 weapons by replace them with size 3 fixed weaponries laser cannons and laser repeaters and stuff, which is still fine because the problem is being alien, right? So just take away the alien, then it will be a ship only, that human flying. I know it will lose a lot of feature, but it will increase your efficiency to operate your ship, so it would be a good choice as well. And I know that some of you would try to say, well, those are alien ships, are you sure those parts will fit? As long as I can tell, for those smaller craft, replicas and also those so-called alien ships will still be available for people to put the human-made modules on board, because those are replicas, so it means that human-made ships. And also even though some of those ships are not human-made, it's made by alien species, but still those are human exported versions, so it means that you're supposed to be able to swap some human-made modules on board. So the third thing about the problems of alien ships may need to face in the future would be being alien. So, well, you know, in Star Citizen, some alien species will be not friendly to human race, which is a Fandu. If you're flying the Fandu blade and glaive around the verse, then it means that you will increase your chance being held and checked by authority, so that to make sure you're not a real Fandu spy hanging around in human territories. And also, well, this is quite extreme though, I know. So you can consider it's kind of myth, just a possibilities, but not really sure how it works though. And also there's a thing about the Banu merchantman though. Yeah, because the Banu merchantman supposed to have some cells to keep prisoners, or I would say slaves, on board. So it means that, well, which is illegal, should be, in human territories, I think. So it means that if you can see a Banu merchantman, you may be able to see some slaves on board. But if you're flying a Banu merchantman, even though you don't have slaves on board, you may increase your chance, like being held and checked by authorities. So based on the problems that I state out about the alien ships, so basically I should say that owning or try to buy an alien ship it would be harder comparing to the human-made vessel, but generally speaking, it shouldn't be extremely hard for you to overcome these kind of problems. So it means that you just simply need to cost you more, like to operate and to own an alien ship. But of course, many things are subject to change. Maybe they will change it very soon, I don't know. But yeah, feel free to leave a comment down below to let me know what is your thought about those alien ships in the future of Star Citizen. And I hope you enjoyed my video, and I shall see you guys next time then. Bye bye.